Hello and welcome to Bloke on the Range. What I thought we'd do today is a bit of British militaria accessory nerdery. What I have here is the first three generations of magazines for the SA80 series, so the L85A1 and L86A1 individual weapon and light support weapon, and particularly this one, because this is possibly the worst magazine issued to a serious First World military, and there's rumours about it being disposable and stuff. That's just a bit of old and bold army fudlore. But what I thought I'd do is we'd just take a look at them in series because I think they're quite interesting. Now, starting on the left here, we have it's just a Colt. Now, the Colt 30 round magazines were used in the trials and the very early issues. And in fact, at school, in the armoury for our L98A1s, there were two of these, and they were definitely alley because they performed far better than these, so I always used to try and get my hands on one of them when possible. Now, we'll take them all apart once I've given the basic overview, but we have an aluminium body, the black tip-tastic follower, and the base plate. This was replaced in service by this, which is also aluminium, and once I've got the springs out, I'll get a magnet out and show you all that to prove it, because there's a lot of FUD around that as well. It's got a much easier to remove base plate. And oh God, this follower's terrible. God. Just look at that. I mean, these aren't great. These early ones aren't great, but that's just so much better. Oh my God. And with the A2 upgrade, what we have here is the HK magazine, which has an anti-tilt follower. That's quite interesting once we get inside to look at it. And it is much, much heavier. This is 100 grams, 3.5 ounces, 95 grams, about 3.25 ounces, and this is half a pound. This is 230 grams. It's really incredible. And yeah, it's the progenitor of the HK High Reliability magazine that they still sell to this day. And at Link's Brutality back in June last year, I was cutting around with a couple of these in my Valstoleka tactical jeans, and they're quite large and they're quite heavy. And actually the only jam I had with my SA80 was one of these. It's a bit annoying, but I mean, just looking at these two side by side, this is basically a cheap-tastic version of the Colt, and they've basically kept the reinforcing ribs basically the same. They changed the floor plate, changed the follower a bit. Curvature's it's all basically the same stuff. Kink in the middle as usual, not a lot to say about that. This, they gave it a much more pronounced curvature. A bit difficult to show on camera. They're a little bit longer, much more curvy and a much smoother curve, so that this quite large anti-tilt follower won't get stuck at the bend there. So what I think we'll do now is take them apart and have a look at the internal differences. So starting with the Colt, I need to do a bit of persuasion. Let's get the floor plate off these. I'm not very good at it. This is a defect with the USGI mags, but in US service they seem to be treated as consumable items, shall we say. So we need to lever this up here, get that tab over a lip, and then come on, and then slide the floor plate off. And there we are, pretty basic. Now there's two manufacturers of these, RG, which are the bulk of them, and in 1999 and 2000 there were a bunch of even worse ones to the same design made by ACL. I've never seen one of them. I have no idea why the RG was ground off of this. I bought two at the same time. One of them now resides in the collection of a certain Mr. Ian McCullum in Arizona. These are much easier to strip. So that's plastic. That comes out way easier, and then we can look at just how incredibly flexible that is. If I put the same amount of pressure on both, I mean, the USGI ones are not the sturdiest on the planet, but these are just so incredibly thin. If you look up there, the thickness of the material, even by eye, you can see that it's you see that it's thinner. But these are so easily deformed, and when they work, as with all magazines, when they run fine. But when they stop running, they're a pain. And the British Army has a habit of not treating things like this as consumables. Really, if a mag gives you a problem, you should destroy it with a rock and yeet it and get another one. But apparently that was not commonplace. So the follower design is, this is the RG one, is even more prone to tipping. And you can see how the front of it there is even thinner than that one. It's a bit longer at the rear, but that doesn't seem to help. As you saw from when I was manipulating it, these tip at the front particularly really awfully, really awfully. So let's go over to the big boy now. HK, which in German stands for Hasst Kunden, hates customers, which anyone who's tried to deal with them in a civilian sphere will know. So this whole thing is just much sturdier. There's not even a through hole there. AD is, I don't know, if it's anything like German proof marks, it might be a date code, but I don't know. So here, these are also quite easy to strip. You just push that down there, slide that back up there. So that retention plate comes off. Let us remember which way around it goes. And then that big boy, that, my friends, is a proper, serious anti-tilt follower going on there. And just the heft of the spring and all that. It's just overall a much better design, but at the cost of weight. And yeah, this mag body is very hefty, very steel, aluminium, steel follower. The other two are plastic, of course. And yeah, that's about it really. So putting it back together now, the follower goes in, that goes in there, that tab goes in there, push that plate down, and then that clicks in there. Simples. RG, it feels like nothing in my hands there. Make sure this is all in the right way. This is not a bad system. It's not particularly robust, but it's easy to work with. And then the Colt here. These are a pest to get back together. There we go. Come on. They're a pest to strip and a pest back together, and frankly, should be treated as semi-consumable items. Like, you're having problems with it, well, you're having problems with it, get rid of it. Get a new one. They're cheap, and particularly in a military context where you got the budget for this kind of thing, it shouldn't even be a question. You shouldn't be keeping there we go, dodgy magazines around the place. And aside from in rare gaps where there aren't many of them around, you really shouldn't be trying to maintain such things. Oh, just that's aluminium as well, which is why it bends so easily. Yeah. Nightmare. Yeah. The hatred is real. You know what? I have plenty of these. I've got plenty of modern ones. Yeet. So, anyway, I hope that was at least vaguely interesting. So the moral of the story is, crap magazines, yeet them when they stop working. Don't design crap magazines. These are miserable. So anyway, thanks for watching. That didn't come out quite as I thought it would, but there you go. We got some other accessory nerdery coming up at some point soon, because here we have a suit sight and a SUSAT modified for Picatinny, so we can play with it. And yeah, if you like this sort of thing, please consider liking and subscribing. Please consider supporting us on Patreon, and see you again sometime. Bye.